The Mayan calendar, the 2012 date, you're a believer that there's something that's going to happen as we get into that time period. Are we in that window now?
I believe we are in that window now, without a doubt, George, and I really appreciated Richard Hoagland's comments that this 2012 event is sort of like a NASA launch window. It's a period of time as opposed to a specific date. But I also look at it as a door as well, and there's not a whole lot of difference really between a door and a window, but there are subtle differences, and the reason I'd like to focus on it as a door is because the Maya kept being insistent about the arrival of a group of enlightened beings that are emerging through a door or a gate. And so while we're talking about a window of time, the specific event that they asked us to pay most close attention to was the opening of this door or gate.
Let's talk about this gate. What did the Mayan prophecy say?
Well, it's in one of the most, I think, provocative images that you can ever imagine. They describe our relationship with the center of our Milky Way galaxy, the place where our sun and solar system are aligning in this rare galactic alignment referred to as a cosmic cross. And they said that out of the center of the Milky Way galaxy, out of this alignment is going to emerge what they described as a serpent rope. And riding upon this serpent rope is either a single enlightened being or perhaps a group of enlightened beings. Now, I picked up the research of John Major Jenkins, who looked at this and said, well, wait a minute. Looks like from the imagery and the description of the event that we can take out the archaic Mayan term serpent rope and put in the modern word wormhole or stargate, and we have an accurate description of what the Maya say is going to happen in 2012.
My presentation today is part of a set of presentations here at this conference that I'm calling Revelation 2012, the Eye of the Needle. Time ends, the stargate opens, and eternity begins. And what I'm intending to do here is to take a little bit of a different look at the whole Maya 2012 prophecy. The core of that prophecy involves a ladder that will be emerging, the Maya say, from the center of our Milky Way galaxy around 2012. We're going to experience, as they describe it, a great cosmic cross of stars and planets, and from out of that galactic center is going to emerge what they described as a serpent rope, which they say will be a transportation system upon which an enlightened being or a group of enlightened beings will travel to our world and presumably bring and introduce a new consciousness to this planet. Much needed new consciousness, I might add. What we've done is taken that archaic Maya term serpent rope and inserted the modern term wormhole or stargate. And many of us researchers are looking at this notion that what the Maya are saying is going to happen is that in 2012, a stargate is going to open from the galactic center, and from out of that gateway is going to emerge an enlightened being or a group of enlightened beings. My contribution to this whole dialogue is in the symbology of this event, because what I noticed is that the Maya symbol for the galactic center, which is this 8-rayed cross up here, matches almost precisely the way Christians portrayed the transfiguration of Jesus. Over and over again, they show him in the eye of the needle, stepping out of an 8-rayed cross. And I got to thinking, well, it shouldn't be too surprising that the Maya are talking about a universal teacher, a galactic teacher emerging from the galactic center. And this symbolism should therefore match, because this isn't a Christian figure, it's not a Jewish figure, it's not a Muslim figure, although every tradition does describe the appearance of such a figure. And so I've gone about collecting images such as these of icons of Jesus in his transfigured or light body state, clearly showing that he's stepping out of this 8-rayed gateway that precisely matches the Maya 2012 concept. The Maya are also quite clear that this serpent rope or wormhole has individuals on this side that are responsible for opening that door or gate. They talk about Itzamna, the Lord of the Milky Way, who will step through this gate, but there is a reciprocal relationship between our civilization and that in the galactic center. Somebody's got to open the door. Jesus described himself as the door. Maybe that's who we're talking about as the person opening this gateway. That's the type of research I've been doing for 20 years. It concerns these doors or gates and beings that come and go from other realms through such stargates or wormholes. I present here a Japanese version of this story in which a devotee is kneeling before an entity, an awakened one, who's stepping through this almond-shaped door or gate. And what we see here actually is the Buddha of eternal light. And this Buddha of eternal light has this field, this radiant field of energy emanating from his heart chakra. This is a being of total love and total compassion who's radiating this field of energy. And in fact, it is that field of energy that opens the gate itself, which is why this imagery is so key. We find almost identical imagery in the Christian tradition, again, in the transfiguration icons of Jesus. In the transfiguration story, Jesus takes a couple of disciples up to the top of the mountain, pulls back his skin, and reveals that he's a being of light. The disciples are terrified at this event. They have no concept of what has just transpired there. And in fact, what happens is that as the disciples and Jesus are coming down the mountain, they're having a conversation. First, we should note that his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light. That's the description in the book of Matthew. So over and again, you'll see descriptions or portrayals such as this of Jesus in this almond-shaped doorway or gate, often filled with stars. And he is in fact a star walker. He has transmuted the human element into this light body form, and he assures us that each and every one of us will one day affect this transmutation as well. In fact, it's thought that this mandorla surrounding Jesus could be interpreted as radiance or light, or it could be an alchemical symbol. It's the vessel in which we will all perform the great work, the magnum opus, which the Tibetans referred to as the great perfection, the transfiguration or metamorphosis of the human into a light being. The Kabbalists knew all about this too, using identical imagery to show the crucifixion as an event, in fact, when the heavens were torn open. In fact, there's only two events in the Bible in which the heavens are torn open in this way: Jesus' birth and his crucifixion. At both events, the heavens tore open. Here's a magnificent icon showing Jesus in his transfigured state, his clothing white as light with the radiant gateway behind him that he will step through and travel throughout the galaxies. Extraordinarily beautiful imagery, but also highly evocative imagery to our spirit self, to our light body, infusing it with programming, with software in a sense. And it's these concepts that I addressed in my presentations, the light body effect, and also star walkers and the dimension of the blessed. And as I said, when Jesus and the disciples came down the mountain, they were having a conversation. Jesus said, "Hey guys, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't tell anybody what you've seen until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." In other words, shh, it's a secret. Now, I'm not quite sure what his attitude was. If it was like, guys, I know what you just saw was pretty far out, and I just appreciate if you would keep it quiet. Or maybe his attitude was, any of you big mouths out there start blabbing about what you've just seen, kick your ass, So it's somewhere in there, but the fact of the matter is that, shh, this is a secret. This transfiguration business is a secret that is waiting until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. When does that happen? Christians believe that in the end times, the entire body of Christ will be changed to light to match the body of Christ. Many interpret the times that we live in as those end times, the end of a calendar, the turning over of an age and the beginning of a new age. In fact, transfiguration is what Paul is talking about when he proclaims that we will be changed in the twinkling of an eye at the last trump. And so we see these extraordinary images, this one from St. Catherine's Monastery in the Sinai, in which Jesus is now in an eye. Remember, the twinkling of an eye. And we see him emerging from this radiant blue quantum egg. He's in an interphasic realm. He's neither here nor there. He's in an intermediate phase with the 8-rayed sun once again emerging from his body. Again, this imagery matching the description that the Maya give of the galactic center in the serpent rope or stargate opening with this enlightened star walker or group of star walkers coming into our realm.